June is going to be a busy month. According to Strahinja Stepanovic, Nebraska Extension Cropping Systems educator, there are going to be 7 Nebraska Extension Field Days taking place on the 12th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, and 22nd of June. At the field days, participants will have the opportunity to learn more about different wheat varieties, field peas, chickpeas, and forages. In addition, depending on the field day location, participants will also be able to learn about other specialty crops such as lentils and winter canola. We talked with Strahinja on Monday to learn more about these field days and why he thinks eastern Nebraska farmers should consider adding field peas to their crop rotation.
June field days have been traditionally evolved around wheat. This year, as I think eastern Nebraska is getting a little bit of a taste of western Nebraska with bringing in pulse crops to that part of the state and bringing in a little bit of diversity to a mix. So not only that we're going to learn more about winter wheat varieties across the states, we're going to have opportunities to learn about how varieties of field peas, both yellow and green, chickpeas and lentils work across the state. That's only on variety side. At some locations, we're going to have forages and cover crops also in the plots. And besides the varieties and only looking at the crops, we're going to have a different agronomic research that's going to be showing how different planting dates, seeding rates affect either wheat or these other pulse crops. So that's kind of unique, I would say, a joint effort, not only on the genetic side, but also on how to grow the best crop.
By teaching eastern Nebraska farmers on how they can incorporate pulse crops into their crop rotation, Strahinja hopes field pea processors will notice the growth of pulse production and add more processors throughout Nebraska.
It's, like I said, in eastern Nebraska, getting a little taste of western Nebraska in terms of diversity. How they fit in our rotations, that's number one. In western Nebraska, we have fallow because we don't have enough rain to grow crop every year. Fallow has been fantastic water conservation practice, so we try to intensify that rotation by replacing fallow with pulses, either field peas or chickpeas or lentils. They are short season crop. As you go further east, you get more rain. People are starting, in central Nebraska, they're starting to think about replacing soybeans. And especially for the guys that grow wheat, corn, soybean rotation, they observe that if they put the field peas and they're a little bit shorter season, they can get a good crop, better than what we do in the west, and then get the wheat planted on time, and wheat does better after peas than it does after soybeans in central Nebraska. Now in eastern Nebraska, or irrigated acres in western Nebraska, with the field peas and winter wheat, you have an opportunity to incorporate do double cropping, either with the short season crops or maybe with the forages or cover crops. And if you do forages and cover crops, then you can also potentially bring a cattle to the land and enhance that nitrogen cycle, especially if you go with the cover crops behind peas. Nitrogen fixer being peas, then you plant the cover crops, then you have cows grazing, fertilizing that field for the next year, and you get some gain off of that. And then you go cut your inputs back next year. So it's a cropping systems approach to this. So how they fit throughout the state, it's really different. And we're going to try to address that research and get more research-based recommendations for that in the future.
Pulse crops are different than corn, soybeans, and wheat since they involve an industry where growers will need to work one-on-one with these processor companies.
There's one thing that I want to say it's unique about these field days, that not only are we going to have a field visits, we have lots of new crops that people are not familiar with. We're going to have an indoor sessions where we're going to have pulse crop industry leaders. This is a little bit different than corn, soybean, and wheat because this pulse crop processors, ingredients companies, and pet food industry, they want to know farmer face to face. It's a lot more about direct marketing. The price, the premiums are a little bit higher than for wheat. On top of my head, field peas are $7 a bushel right now. Lentils are about 13, and chickpeas about 23, 24. That may not be, but that's kind of a range where they are right now. And there's a lot of progressive companies like Farmer Business Network or Farm Leads that offer a marketplace for them. They put the contracts together. They figure out where to store them, whether to pick them on a farm. They have production contracts in place. And I would encourage everybody to come in and during the networking session talk to all those companies. Redwood Group, Gavilon Grain. There's a lot of people that have interest coming in Nebraska and processing pulses, connecting to a grower. So that's why this industry is really, really unique.